ho, ho, ho. Yeah, ho. Ah, here we are again. Hello, my comic book fiends. And I am the Dark Librarian. And I'm here to tell tales of terror. And I'm being ably assisted here by my friend Mr. Bones. And he is holding our terror tome for this time. Remember, this is the spooky month of October, and we are working our way up to Halloween, telling tales of terrifying, terrifying whatever. I can't think of another T. Terrifying tales. Oh, yes. And this time it is Boris Karloff, Tales of Mystery, number 21, from 1968. Gold Key Comics. This is the original Gold Key Comics. I remember it was about a year and a half ago or so. New Gold Key Comics popped up doing Boris Karloff, and I did reviews of those first two issues, and they were very substandard. Although the second one was marginally better than the first. I don't know. Have they published any more since then? I don't know. I've not seen any. So, let us delve into the depths of our terror tome for today. Boris Karloff. Bizarre Brain Comics. Oh, the Dark Librarian. Oh, yes. My fiendish fellow readers of the foul dark arts. Ooh. In the form of Boris Karloff. Oh. So, as I said, this is from 1968. A 12-cent cover price. And this is a very rough copy. In fact, the whole cover has come off. And I just bought this a few weeks ago at the Brass Armadillo Antique Mall. And it's missing the double page the fold-out spread in the middle, which I think is mostly the was mostly a couple of ads and maybe a text page or maybe one of their filler informational pages, because it doesn't seem to have affected the stories at all. So here we have this great cover painting by George Wilson. Unfortunately, don't know the writers and artists for the interior, but some really nice work. And we have here the Dream Demon, also the Scavengers, and the Screaming Skull. The Screaming Skull. So we start off here with the Dream Demon. See, it's completely come apart. And this takes place in in some jungle depths. And this is the camp of an anthropologist. And he has his camp workers here. And one of them is the camp cook, is in fact a juju man. A small-time kind of magician. And he takes advantage, conning his co-workers out of their pay, frightening them and stuff. And the anthropologist's wife takes note, and she severely chastises the man for it. And he wants to get his revenge. He makes the curse. You have shamed me before my inferiors. Beware of the Uzimu. I will send you. So he's promised to do some kind of magic curse, and he's been fired from his job. And he goes to a native witch doctor. Well, the lady is slightly frightened and seeks comfort in the arms of her husband. Meanwhile, the guy goes to see a more major witch doctor and gets some spell from him. So the lady has taken over cooking for the entire camp. Remember, this is the 60s. Oh, heaven forbid that the lady actually be one of the anthropologists. No. Even though she looks like kind of a little bit like Jane Goodall, who would have been the leader of the expedition. While she's doing some cooking, he sneaks in and puts some of that spooky powder in her drink. And later he sees her eating and her shadow against the tent wall, and she takes the drink. And then that night she starts having nightmares. She sees things like horrid ghostly feet and hearing sounds, and she's frightened, screams and stuff. And this happens over and over for many nights, and the things start getting worse and seem to be becoming more solid. And they're it's a giant baboon who actually gets astride her on the bed, but she can't touch it. And he brings in a local doctor, a real doctor. The husband does, the anthropologist does, and he says, I can't find anything wrong with her. It's just like all seems to be in her mind. And then he talks to one of his associates, another anthropologist who is assisting him on this, who is a local, and asks about it and says something about the Uzimu or whatever, and he says, well, I don't believe this stuff, but my uncle is a local Nganga, a witch doctor, and we'll go to him for advice. And he talks about it and says, oh, really? He has to cast the bones. Oh, yes, he finds out, yes, this is what has happened, and it will eventually destroy her. So he gets together with ingredients he needs and a bunch of vines and makes a vine mannequin or dummy. And he goes, then in the lady's tent while she's sleeping, they sneak in and they're hiding away, and has the dummy is like a marionette, and then in comes the baboon demon, and is about to pounce on her when he releases the mannequin, and it comes to life and confronts the demonic baboon, and the two mystical beings fight, and eventually the mannequin destroys the Uzimu, and it fades away, leaving just the tattered remains of the little mannequin. Then they go to the local village and find where that cook who had been discharged because they realized he was the one behind it, and it leads them to to him, and he is there dead at his own table with some wrappings of vine around his throat, vine which had come from the mannequin, and he too was strangled, and that was the end of that. It says, living puppets, dream demons, can they possibly exist? You might ask Jimu, but that malicious one is in no condition to answer. Oh. Then he said, it's not an actual story, it's just it's ghostly images showing little parts of things when some images like a man who had killed a woman during an electrical storm, and somehow a photograph of the incident was imprinted on a pane of glass in her house, and the police were able to capture the fellow. Then there's one of a man who's seems to be exhausted and kind of on the run, stops in a cafe to get something to eat. So hoping he can't find, says, I hope it doesn't find me. But then an image appears a ghostly image appears they're in the room with them. The waitress sees it too, and he rushes out and takes off on a bus. Eventually, he goes and to the police and confesses that he killed the man who is appearing to him, and he is put in jail. Then there's one of a wedding photographer taking a picture of a wedding couple, and in the picture they see another man pointing a finger, and it is the dead man, the dead husband of the bride, her former, and in the process of trying to figure out what's going on, they discover that the new husband, along with his bride, had killed her husband so they could get together. Then we have the story, The Scavengers. And this is about a sailing ship in the time of sailing ships, a cargo ship, and it's heading towards a port for a particular passage through the reefs. And in the midst of a storm, they look for the lights to show the passage, so they have to go between the two, steer between the two lights. Oh, but they're smashed up on the reef, and it turns out that there were scavengers out there who had set up fake lights for them specifically to crash the ship, and then all the townspeople are out there scavenging the cargo from the wrecked ship. The captain of that ship is the only one who survived, and he gets on he watches the scavengers hauling in the stuff, and he swears revenge, but they don't know that he is the captain. He uses driftwood to build himself a little shelter, and just lives there on the beach, and he uses driftwood to carve very beautiful carved animals, birds, all birds, seabirds primarily, and meanwhile the townspeople have been doing very well on the earnings from all the ships that they have been scavenging. They hire the fellow to carve a coat of arms for the city hall, and he carves one in there, and they are horrified by it. The place is called Raven's Reef, and it's and on the coat of arms is carrion birds and predators and the like on the coat of arms, and they don't like that, and they go to complain to him about it. And then they see he's carving boats, but not just any boat, specific boats, ships. And they say, that ship looks familiar. And he says, yeah, I see it. Where'd you see that ship? He says, oh, I see it right over there. And they look, and there is the ghostly image of that very ship he is carving, called the Sea Queen, as it comes up and crashes on the rocks, but the ship isn't really there, and they run off in horror. Then later, when people come back, he is carving another ship, another one that they recognize, and it is just like the Sea Queen, but this one's the Neptune. And they see it, and he puts it in the water, and it floats out. And then that night, while they're watching, they see a ship coming towards them, and it's a dark and rainy night. So they set up the trap again, just as they did before. But the ship, instead of crashing on the rocks, it passes right through the rocks and comes up to the beach, and offloading hundreds of ghostly sailors who come and attack the town, killing it all but one, who manages to get away. And the next day, the gendarmes have arrived. The place, all the people are dead. The whole town is burned, and he tells them about stuff, and it is the captain there with his little model of the Neptune, and says, "See, I told you the Neptune would return." And yet, how could a sunken ship and its crew return from the grave to claim vengeance? The scavengers could answer that, but their lips are sealed forever. And then this is a different artist, and they're all the art is fine, very nicely done. Different artists. This is one I'm very unfamiliar with. It has an interesting, I would say, either a European or South American style to his art. And this one is the Screaming Skull. And this is an archaeologist talking with a psychologist about the Screaming Skull that he had discovered on a dig. He was told by his native associates not to remove it. He did, and he's been haunted ever since. He brought it home for his personal collection, and yet he hears the screaming, and it always goes back to the skull, and the skull is out of the box that he keeps it in. And he is haunted by it. And the doctor says it must just be some of your own guilt, all in your mind. The best thing for you is to leave the skull here with me. He does that. And then the next thing we know, that night, the doctor is awakened in the night by this screaming, ah! And he goes and sees the skull out of the box, and it's speaking to him, says, back, put me back here. So then he believes, and the archaeologist does indeed return it to its home, where it belonged. And then, of course, on the back cover is the cover painting as a pinup. It was very nicely done without all the trade craft on the top, without the masthead, and it's just a wonderful painting. And I just love these Boris Karloff comic books. So that is what I had to share with you this time. So my friends, did you like this tome that the Dark Librarian has shared with you? Oh, let me know in the comments down below. And remember, comics are art.